If I had to start again at 30% body fat and my goal is to reach a lean 12 to 15% body fat with visible abs, I would go through a simple 5-step process. In this video, I will walk you through the full journey me and my clients go through to achieve our fat loss goals while still enjoying life. Let's dive straight into the first step, which is a nutrition habits audit. Because when it comes to losing large amounts of fat, your nutrition really is the key variable. For the most part, your nutrition habits also got you to 30% body fat in the first place. So before doing crazy intense cardio sessions or following a crash diet, start simple. Go into your kitchen and review your food environment. What are the things you typically eat when you are bored? And do you have foods that are not serving your body or health? There are no 100% bad or good foods, but we can be real with each other. Having a lot of highly processed snacks readily available at your home is not helping your fitness goals. As supported by research, changing your food environment is one of the most powerful things you can do to improve your nutrition habits. So the first step in your fat loss journey is not calculating how many calories you should be consuming. We will get to that later. Let's first create a healthy eating environment. Get used to eating real whole foods, single ingredient items. Bring high quality protein sources in the house like chicken, eggs, lentils, and fish. Get yourself some fruits, whole grains, and potatoes for filling carbohydrates. And incorporate rich, tasty vegetables you may enjoy like bell peppers, pumpkins, and asparagus. Having more quality foods that nourish your body automatically reduces the need to snack on processed foods that are blowing your calories up. Especially if you focus on having 3 balanced warm meals per day with 1 palm of protein, a handful cup of carbs, and 2 fists of vegetables, you already have the foundation of your nutrition approach that places you in a calorie deficit without even tracking calories yet. In fact, when I was at 28% body fat, I was able to get down to 22% body fat simply by having 3 portion-controlled meals per day, so this actually works. Also, as a side note, it is important to mention that there is a difference between your daily habits and special occasions. I see so many people saying things like,
"Oh, I can't eat pizza anymore on our boys' night." Or, "I can't eat the cake on my child's birthday, I'm on a diet."
Meanwhile, the same individual has a can of soda at work every day that adds 200 calories to his intake. Be consistent and somewhat strict in your normal day-to-day. During rare events, be flexible and enjoy the special occasion. Now, just with establishing healthy habits and eating whole food meals, you will lose the first 5% of your body fat in 8 to 10 weeks. But to go from 25% to 15% body fat, that usually is more challenging, and you need to level up your approach. Because we know from the scientific literature that the more fat you lose, the slower fat loss typically becomes. You may start noticing your hunger increasing a little bit, and you move less spontaneously after being in a calorie deficit for more than 2 months. So to keep progressing after the first step of simply improving your nutrition habits, we need a more focused approach. And at this stage, there are typically 2 options I give my clients. The first option is simple, and that is to start tracking your calorie and protein intake. One of the easiest ways to make sure you are in a calorie deficit for fat loss is by tracking your nutrition and making sure your nutrition intake is below your maintenance calories. As I mentioned in one of my previous videos, a good calorie deficit guideline is to consume between 10 to 12 calories per pound of your goal body weight. So if your goal weight is at 180 pounds, consume between 1800 to 2160 calories per day. Based on your activity level, determine where in this 1800 to 2160 calorie range you will be. If you now also make sure that your protein intake is at least 0.7 grams per pound of your goal weight, you will be well on your way to go from 25% to 15% body fat over the next 4 months. With that said, I am aware that tracking every calorie you consume is not for everyone. That's why I have a second option for creating a calorie deficit, and this does not involve any calorie tracking. I call this approach protein-based intermittent fasting. When you use intermittent fasting, you typically delay your first meal of the day and limit yourself to a narrow eating window. For instance, you could have an 8-hour eating window from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. The benefit of the shorter eating window is that it becomes easier to control your calorie intake without having to track your calories. Because now instead of having to eat 3 to 4 daily meals, you only have time for 2 larger meals and maybe a snack. So each meal you consume during your feeding window is more filling, but because you fasted earlier in the morning time, your calorie intake over the entire day is still lower. A 2020 research review also supports this notion. Intermittent fasting, which you eat for 8 hours of the day and fast for 16 hours, resulted in improved fat loss progress without the participants even tracking their calories. So this is great. You do not have to track calories to lose fat. But just intermittent fasting by itself is not enough if you want the best results. We also need 2 other variables to be in place. First, incorporate a protein source with each eating moment you have during your feeding window, because research shows that incorporating a protein source in your meal makes that meal more filling. This is why I call the fasting approach a protein-based intermittent fasting approach, because every eating moment needs to be centered around a protein source. At 12 p.m. when you break your fast, you can have something like healthy chicken tortilla wraps with mixed vegetables. Maybe at 3 to 4 p.m. you work up an appetite and consume some Greek yogurt with mixed nuts and fruits. Then at 6 to 7 p.m. for your dinner, you have the largest meal of the day with a protein source, carbs, and vegetables. Such a structure is highly effective, and it's basically how some of my coaching clients achieve their fat loss goals. Next to prioritizing protein, the second variable you need to have in place is to cut your liquid calories. Sodas, fruit juices, and especially alcoholic beverages add calories to your nutrition without enhancing satiety. The reason you need to be extra mindful with alcohol is that research shows drinking alcohol actually increases your appetite. So not only do you get calories from the alcoholic beverage, but after drinking alcohol, you typically also want to eat more. If you choose to maintain this protein-based intermittent fasting approach, limit yourself to no more than 2 to 3 alcoholic beverages per week. All in all, whether you go with a calorie tracking approach or a protein-based intermittent fasting approach, you will see great fat loss progress, because I have tested these methods on hundreds of my online coaching clients. So far, we discussed a lot about nutrition, but what about training? Shouldn't we be training super hard to burn fat during our workouts? Short answer, no. A common myth is that you need to be in a fat-burning zone and train with higher repetitions to get leaner. This 2022 study compared training with 10 repetitions per set versus 20 repetitions per set while in a calorie deficit. Both groups had the same fat loss progress. Get this idea out of your head that you need to be lifting with higher repetitions to get leaner. You also do not need a ton of cardio. Especially if you start at 30% body fat, do not see your workouts as punishment. Focus on developing that training habit by showing up to the gym consistently 3 to 4 times per week, and improve yourself by getting stronger. The calorie deficit we discussed in the previous chapter of this video will be responsible for fat loss. The workout side of things is about improving your health and maintaining muscle. Fun fact, did you know that how much muscle you maintain while in the fat loss phase is a key predictor of how well you will be able to keep the fat off long term? That's because muscle is metabolically active tissue. Muscle maintenance helps you prevent the slowing down of your metabolism as you lose body fat. So get into the gym 3 times per week and focus on building your body up through resistance training. On the screen, you can find a simple 3-day full body routine that you can use as inspiration. I made a full breakdown video of this 3-day full body split on my channel. Go ahead and check that out to get started properly on your resistance training journey. Now that we improved your nutrition habits, created a calorie deficit, and have an effective training plan, it's time for step 4, which is increasing your general activity. This could be an activity like cycling, walking your dog, or even gardening. When you go from 30 to 20% body fat, you will be able to make great progress by just controlling nutrition and getting to the gym. But especially once you want to go down from that 20% body fat to 15% or even lower, your fat loss will slow down and you need extra activity. Instead of doing lots of cardio, your extra activity like walking can be the main instrument to increase your daily calorie burn. In this study, an extra 22-minute daily walk boosted fat loss by 20% in a 12-week period. Yes, 20% increased fat loss by just adding a daily walk. We are talking about such a low-level commitment with walking. You know how much people spend on useless fat burner supplements that do nothing? Well, you could go on a daily walk and actually see positive effects. So make a daily 30-minute walk or other low-intensity activity a daily occurrence. If you feel stuck in your fat loss progress, see if you can walk even more, like up to an hour per day. Because walking, or an alternative like low-intensity cycling, helps you burn extra calories without tiring you out. Personally, I have used walking so many times to break through fat loss plateaus. Like with my online coaching client Yassine, adding a daily walk made all the difference. The same goes for my online coaching client Sylvester. Increasing walking activity while in a consistent calorie deficit takes you to new heights. The fifth and final step I would take if I was starting at 30% body fat again is being accountable to someone. We as humans have interesting psychology. We would let ourselves down before we let someone else down. Instead of fighting against our own biology, let's use it to our advantage. Having someone involved in your fitness process makes it more likely that you will stick with it. Because not only have you made a promise to yourself, you also involved someone else in your journey. Of course, as an online coach, daily I hold my clients accountable so they can get amazing results. But not everyone needs a coach. You can also be accountable to someone in your environment. Make an agreement with your wife or coworker, or get a gym buddy and set goals together. While at the end of the day, you are responsible for your own personal fitness, you do not have to do this all alone. This 2020 study found that having someone you are accountable to increases your consistency and therefore helps you make better fat loss progress. So go reach out to someone you care about, tell them about your fitness goals, and ask them to hold you accountable. Or better yet, ask them if they want to go on this improvement journey with you. And if you are interested in professional guidance throughout your fitness journey, this is what I do. You can apply to my one-on-one online coaching service and I will personally help you level up your fitness. Once you apply, we can set up a call to discuss your goals and you can hopefully become one of my next massive success stories. And that was it for today's video. I hope you now have a better idea of how to approach your fat loss goals if you are at 30% body fat. Here above, I have another new awesome video for you, so go ahead and check that out. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.